So my name is Antonio, head of market development. I've been working in different clouds now in Google, and I've been helping a lot of companies understand how to actually implement machine learning strategy. So what I'm going to try to do today is to share some of those, pieces of information, knowledge I've been gathering, and our best practices when working with customers. So if you think about digital transformation, actually, most of that is coming from machine learning. Most of the projects in which you actually really have a transformation is through data, is through something you do with data, okay? So moving to a cloud does not necessarily give you a transformation. That's a lift and shift. You're going to save cost, it's going to be more agile, less headaches, but the real transformation is when you put the data and you have a strategy around transforming the data into insights, creating new business models, and so forth and so on. So areas in which we have seen transformation with customers are new customer experiences, okay? So if you need to think about what can I do with data machine learning, think about this use case. How can I actually do better interaction with my customers? Chatbots, okay? How can I improve maybe the communications when they're calling the call center and it's actually routed to the right persona to have the right conversation? So those are things that are super important. Business operations. There are so many things that you do today that could be automated by a machine learning. Imagine the contracts. Imagine you have a lot of paperwork in your companies, procurement, SLAs, things that you have in documents, in PDF. What do you do with that? Do you have people reading the documents and understanding what to do with that? Or can you actually have a machine learning that goes through the documents and can tell you deadlines, risks, things that are happening in that information? That process could be actually automated. Imagine the expenses. I'm sure that many of you are actually sending expenses to an application. Imagine you could approve that automatically using machine learning rather than wasting your time going through the receipts, okay? So those are things that actually can help you. The decision making as well. Imagine that rather than you going through reports and reports to understand something that happens and then you make a decision, imagine that the machine learning is telling you the insights and then you make a decision based on insights, based on things that the machine is actually detecting. Imagine you're making an investment. Imagine you have satellite data and you want to make an investment, you are an oil and gas company, and you want to make an investment where to put certain things. Imagine that that information can actually give you a better insight or investment in terms of shares, index funds. So you could actually use machine learning to do all that process for you. And then, last but not least, you could reinvent your business. You could create a new business operation, a new idea that you take to market, okay? But how do I achieve that? Many customers I'm talking to are telling me, I don't know how to set up the strategy. How do I do that? So let me give you a few examples, okay? But before that, let me tell you what are the main challenges that you're going to face. So this is actually coming from leaders we've been talking to, it's actually in different papers, and it is super important. When people are being asked, what is your challenge in implementing a machine learning strategy, the number one is, my people don't know. They don't know how to do it. Most importantly, the business that need to use the machine learning, they don't trust the machine learning. They know better than the machine. So those are going to be challenges for you. The people, the skills, and also you implement a project to make a decision with a machine learning. Are you trusting that process? Are the business people trusting that process? You know what? By nature, they're going to say no, because they know better. I'll tell you a few tricks and tips later on. Secondly, defining the strategy. They don't know where to start. Some of you might know, some of you may not know. Where do I start? Do I create a perfect platform? What kind of people do I need to hire? What are the kind of skill sets I need to hire? It's super complex. It's new. I met so many heads of data scientists that they told me, this is new to me. I'm coming from IT, but this is the first time I'm doing machine learning. So those are challenges that we can help you with. Last but not least, and super important, the use cases. Machine learning is not a use case. A data lake is not a use case. Big data is not a use case. What are the right use cases you need to select to be successful? Because if you select the wrong use cases, then you're not successful. Okay? So let me go through certain things that can help you. So you need to actually apply a strategy. You need to understand whether you have the right personas, the right people, like data scientists, or not. Okay? And then you need to decide whether you can trust maybe machine learning, AIs, that have been pre-trained and pre-created for you, okay, like a chatbot. But you need to define that strategy. You need to understand, do I want to invest into something, or do I need to buy something? Or a mix of both. My recommendation is that you do both. You invest into hiring the right personas, the right profiles that actually look into your data, research, and actually create the secret sauce for your company, but also evaluate in the market. There are AI solutions available that you could start using today. Imagine you have a website and you make recommendations. You could actually have a machine learning recommendation engine created by Google, trained by Google on the data that Google have, and you can put it in production through APIs tomorrow. Do you need data scientists? Probably not, but that's the first quick win that you can actually start using machine learning for. So understanding that is super important. Create the practice. By the way, for people that are creating the practice of machine learning is data scientists, data engineers, DevOps people, because it needs to be put in production, and business. If you only create a practice that are only data scientists, you know what is going to happen? Most of the time, the models are going to be created, they are going to sit somewhere. They're not going to be put in production. And then it's useless. So you need to make sure that you have a combination of profiles that work together to understand the business needs, to work together to get the right data, because without the data, the model is useless as well. And is able not only to create the model and train the model and be the most perfect model in the world, but that model is put in production. Because 80% of the time, models don't go to production. So the data scientists spend time creating models and nothing happens with that. So it's a waste of money, resources, you're innovating. But the real innovation is when something happens in the business. Work with the LOBs. If you are having resistance in your company to apply as IT professionals, to apply certain things, find a sponsor. Go to the LOB, to the department that are more innovative. Find the ones that want to do something with you. Pick your battles. Don't try to create the perfect platform. Have a vision of creating the perfect platform, don't get me wrong. But you need to pick your battle. You need to have quick wins as well. You need to actually select personas from the business that want to work with you and you want to put things in production. Because if you do, and you have a business impact, the rest are going to follow. It's change management, okay? So align with the business, that's super important. When you select the scenarios, select the ones that are related to the business strategy and outcome-based. Is there a KPI that you're measuring? Customer satisfaction, time to value, anything that is a key metric for that organization or department. Don't go for the nice use case that is super cool and you like it. That happens a lot. You need to actually have an axis of value and feasibility. A few years ago, we met with this English company. They were doing smart metering. And then they wanted to do smart metering with machine learning. And we went, okay, good. So how do you do that today? We take pictures. So in the UK, we have like thousands of different machines, okay? So we take pictures. And what do you do with that? We send it to India. How much does it cost? Peanuts. So you have a process that works, that is efficient and costs peanuts, and you want to put a process that might be more expensive, but that is cool, because you use machine learning. Kill the idea. So that's an example of you need to select the right use cases, because if you select something that the cost of doing the use case is superior than the value, then it's useless. So you need to also assess those things, ethics as well, cost, and so forth and so on. So I'm just giving you hints, guys, okay? This is a 15-minute presentation. Usually it takes me an hour, okay? So prioritize scenario. This is a super good tip for anyone that is starting in this journey. If you need to pick your battles, also pick the battles in terms of use cases. Meaning, find a process. If it's the first time you're going to do this, don't try to find the best use case. Try to find use cases that are a process or something you do today, but you automate. Okay? So something that you do today, not something new. Because if it's something new, we don't want something new. But if you have a process that works today, and you can improve it, automate that process, the decision making, the paperwork I was telling you, okay? If you find something that can be automated, that's a quick win. You're going to have less resistance. You could also enhance things, okay? You do something very well, but you want to create a better engagement model or a better value to the customer. That's another one that you could do in order. And last but not least, the crazy idea, the new department, the new idea, something that is completely new to the business. Then go for them. But if you ask me and there is certain resistance or the business is not ready or the company is not ready, try to find things that you do today and you just automate as a process. Because machine learning oftentimes is a decision point that is automated by a machine. So find those ones, prioritize, filter based on feasibility, cost, and so forth. That will help you a lot. Experiment. I think experimentation is part of the machine learning. So look at the data, put something in production with a subset of users, gather feedback, and then expand if successful, and be tactical. You know, companies like Google, we implement machine learning into everything we do. So when we do reviews of the next product, the next whatever, we're looking into how can we embed machine learning into this new project, okay? So that could actually help you as well to use it internally. And also you can put OKRs. We call them OKRs, KPIs, okay? So you could have a KPI that says, part of your project needs to have this. Or you need to actually consider, if you don't put goals, change management is going to be complicated. So on use cases, just to let you know, we have, and we can do it for you. We've been talking to some of you. I see some faces in the previous weeks. We have a concept of innovation workshops. We have the team here with Nuno, Raquel, and different stakeholders. If you are struggling in identifying the right use cases, we can help you with that, guys. We have a framework in which we can actually run workshops. And through the workshop, we will actually identify use cases that are related to KPIs. We will identify use cases that probably you don't need to invest because you don't have the data. We will help you through the entire process, okay? So if your problem is, I do have the technology, but I need help in identifying use cases, we're going to be here today. I want you to raise your hand. We can go through this process with your companies and help you driving innovation. And actually, just to let you know, we've seen companies applying these projects from 3 weeks to 6 months. That's another thing I wanted to tell you. Don't think that machine learning are massive projects that need to take a couple of years, okay? We have some AI models that could be implemented today, like recommendation engines, chatbots, things that probably can improve a process that you have or enhance the satisfaction of your customers by using a technology. We need to make sure that you have the data, and we need to make sure that you have the use case. But we have accelerators with our partners, okay, that we can actually help you kicking off and triggering these use cases into production. Maybe version 1 is not the perfect version, but I want you to realize that it's not as complicated as it may seem, and you have partners like Google that can help you with this. So in a nutshell, we can help you with all those pieces and bytes, but there was a question in the beginning I highlighted, which was, how do I actually make sure that the business are using our machine learning? So this is a process that we go through many customers. So when you are implementing a new project or a new AI model into production, a use case based on machine learning, you need to actually explain the context and the conditions. You need to tell the users what you're doing with the machine learning. You need to show them the data. So if you show a user that is used to doing that himself or herself, you can show the user input data, so the data that you use for the model, like customer messages, and then the output, the results. And you can actually do that with historical data. So in order to prove it, take a model and base that model, apply that model to historical data, something that happened 5 years ago, to show the result and see if the benefits, the outcomes are actually good. Because if you demonstrate that something that happened in the past, the machine learning model is better, you are proving that the model works. So based on historical data, okay? So that is a process, and we have certain methodology we can help you, but the only way to do it is to really embed and bring the business into this, and to really make sure that the business understands how the model is working, what data is being used, and also doing testing with the data from the past. How do we work, and how do we help you driving this strategy? We're talking about innovation, operation, customer service, and decision-making. We have a platform that helps you collect any data, IoT, unstructured data, semi-structured data. We have a platform, if you don't have data scientists, that they can actually create machine learning models with SQL. So they don't need to actually create models with the new technologies. The platform, the data platform we have, which is called BigQuery, allows you to actually run sentencing in SQL, and it's going to create a model for you. Boom. Developers can start using machine learning without being data scientists. Then you have the platform for data, and you have data scientists. Guess what? 80% of their time, as I said, is on managing infrastructure. They don't put the models in production. They waste time in training the model. They waste time into putting those models in production, having APIs. You need a platform that allows your data scientists to create models and to put them in production without managing infrastructure. That's how we can help you from the technology standpoint. Do not have people managing infrastructure. That's not their job as a data scientist. Their job is to actually experiment, research, put the model in production, and make sure that the model is working. And when the data changes, change the model, because that happens. And you need to have a process that automates that very quickly. So you have developers covered here with the platform. You have data scientists covered there. But what happens if you don't have data scientists? We have all these solutions that has been pre-trained by Google. So if you have any use case about translation, document management, visual inspection like security, movement, anything that is happening with videos, speech, sentiment analysis, call centers, chatbots, we have the models pre-trained with Google data. And trust me, sometimes the data is more important than the model. So Google has so much data that we have trained our models to learn from our data. And not only we make that available through a solution for you, like a chatbot, but it's trained on Google's data. So you take advantage of data that you don't have today. It learns from your data, it's your data, and the model actually applies the learning from Google into your own data. And then you are actually accelerating the time to value with machine learning. And overall, you should have a hybrid strategy. I told you the challenges, and we can discuss in the breaks, but challenge is collecting the data, and your developers can start using machine learning. Challenges with my data scientists spend time managing infrastructure, and that's not their job. We can help you with that, automating those processes. And challenges with, we have use cases in which maybe I don't have enough data scientists. We can start with the solution. Or maybe I don't have data scientists at all. We can start with a solution that is pre-trained. So it's easier than you think, but it's new to many people. Think about business, think about KPIs, think about agility. Don't try to boil the ocean, building a perfect thing. Experiment, pick your battles, but use the right technologies. And sometimes the right technology is something that we have created for you. But go and do it. Thank you, guys. Obrigado.